The sun was barely up, casting a golden glow over my 30-acre ranch in northern Arizona, when the chaos began. 2 sheriff's cars sat idling at my front gate, their lights flashing in the crisp morning air. A woman named Linda Harper, clad in a pastel robe and flip-flops, was screaming at the deputies, her arms flailing like a windmill. "Arrest him! He's a menace!" He turned off my water. The sheriff, a grizzled man named Tucker, raised an eyebrow and glanced at me. "Sir, this is your property. That water line doesn't even connect to her house." Linda stomped her foot, her face red with fury. "I don't care. I've always used that water. He can't just cut it off." "My name is Ethan Carter, a 41-year-old retired firefighter from Phoenix. After 2 decades of battling flames and saving lives, I bought this ranch to escape the city's noise, raise horses, and live quietly with my 2 dogs, Bolt and Luna. I never imagined I'd be at war with a neighbor over my own well water." Linda lived in Sunset Hills, a cluster of homes built awkwardly next to my ranch's southern border. She called herself the president of the Sunset Hills HOA, but I later learned it was a sham, a Facebook group and some flyers, nothing official. Things started small. She waved from her SUV, even brought me cookies once. I didn't eat them. Then she asked to use my well water for her koi pond during a drought. I said no. That's when the trouble began. It started with her sneaking a hose under my fence, tapping into an old spigot I hadn't used in years. When I found it leaking, I shut off the valve and capped it. The next morning, Linda was at my gate, shrieking, "I have a right to that water! It runs through shared land." I stayed calm. "We don't share land, Linda. This is my ranch." She dialed 911 right there, claiming I'd threatened her with a wrench. "It's elder abuse," she sobbed to the deputies, who looked unimpressed. "Ma'am, he owns this property," one said. Then she lunged at me through the gate, tripped, and slammed her knee into the metal rail. "My leg!" "He broke it," she wailed, rolling in the gravel. The deputies sighed. "You hit the gate, ma'am. Nobody touched you." My cameras caught it all, and her eyes widened when I mentioned the footage. She hobbled off, muttering about her lawyer brother, but I knew this was far from over. Days later, I woke to the roar of a backhoe tearing through my pasture. Dust clouded the air as it dug a trench near the old water line. Linda stood nearby, clipboard in hand, directing the operator like a general. "What the hell is this?" I shouted, storming over. The operator shrugged. "Lady says she owns this strip and has water rights." Linda waved a paper. "This is an emergency community ordinance." I laughed. "That's not a thing." Sheriff Tucker arrived, skimmed her document, a Home Depot receipt taped to a Google Earth printout, and ordered them off my land. But the trench had clipped an old electrical conduit, sparking a small explosion. Smoke rose as Linda screamed, and I realized this woman was a walking disaster. That night, my phone buzzed at 2:41 a.m. Security footage showed Linda, in a hoodie, climbing my fence with a flashlight and a spoon. She was digging near my barn, muttering about her water line. I called Tucker. By the time he arrived, she was still jabbing at the dirt. "I've rerouted my plumbing to your line," she yelled as they cuffed her. "You forced me." I stood there stunned. She'd connected her home's pipes to my well. The deputies hauled her away, but the next morning, a certified letter arrived from the Sunset Hills Neighborhood Council, demanding a public hearing on my ranch about shared water rights. It was unsigned, with a logo that looked like a middle school art project. I decided to play their game. I mowed a field, set up chairs, and rigged floodlights and hidden mics. I also prepared a surprise, a projector screen with damning footage. On Saturday, dozens of neighbors arrived, led by Linda in a white pantsuit and headset mic, her brother Paul, a supposed lawyer, at her side. "We demand 30% of Ethan's well," she declared. I stepped forward. "Linda, did those users have permission?" She ignored me, ranting about Historical overlap. I hit play on the projector. The screen lit up with Linda sneaking over my fence, spoon in hand, then ordering the backhoe, then lying on her 911 call. The crowd gasped. I handed out copies of my deeds and permits, proving my well was private. "This meeting's over," I said. Linda snapped. She grabbed my laptop and smashed it, screaming, "This isn't over!" Sparks flew from the projector, igniting her clipboard. She fell back, shrieking about her hair as neighbors doused the flames. Tucker cuffed her for destruction of property. Paul slunk away, briefcase in hand. I thought it was done, but 3 days later, Child Protective Services knocked. A tip claimed I was hiding kids in my barn without water or power. I showed the agent, Ms. Clark, every inch of my ranch. "Someone's harassing you," she said, promising to flag future reports. I knew it was Linda. I dug deeper. My friend Nate at the county records office found Linda had filed fake noise complaints, a bogus lien on my land, and even a grant application using my well as collateral. She wanted my ranch, 30 acres, to rezone or control. I filed charges: trespassing, fraud, harassment, and more. That night, cameras caught her prying open my water meter with a crowbar. I shouted, "Drop it!" She swung at the pipe, screaming, "This water's mine!" I held up my phone. "You're on camera!" She ran, tripped, and face-planted in the weeds. Tucker arrested her, this time for vandalism and sabotage. The courts moved fast. Linda faced charges for fraud, arson, after her HOA volunteer set my fence ablaze, and conspiracy. Paul, disbarred years ago, was indicted for forgery. The fake HOA dissolved, and Sunset Hills residents received cease and desist letters. But one morning an unsigned letter arrived. "This land isn't yours. Sleep with one eye open." The HOA president. My blood ran cold. I upgraded my drones and sensors, knowing someone was still out there. Weeks later, neighbors like Sarah and Tom Klein came to my gate with muffins and a note. "We're sorry," Sarah said. "We believed her lies. You showed us what courage looks like." I looked over my ranch, horses grazing, dogs dozing, and felt peace. Linda was gone, her empire crumbled. My land was mine again. What do you think? Was I too harsh, or was Linda's obsession a threat that demanded action? Drop a comment with your take, especially on whether playful teasing, like Linda's initial, neighborly, acts, can hide darker motives in relationships. Share this story with someone who's faced their own HOA nightmare, and let's get this discussion trending.